Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to the Vampire Amazon Challenge in The Sims 4. We are following the reign of Queen Darling Cloudy Snarl, who has recently been busy patching up relations with the Dark Pounds family and planning for the future of her queendom. And the most tenuous thing right now is the relationship between Crown Princess Zara and Lord Yorick. A royal betrothal holds them together, but the Queen hopes that they'll also be able to develop an understanding that goes beyond the duty they have towards each other. Princess Nimue has aged up into a teen, so we're taking a look at her in Cass. She's developed the Green Fiend trait and aspires to be a Renaissance sim. I feel like Nimue enjoys being away from the politics of court, which is why she's drawn to nature and enjoys quiet spaces like the royal garden. I think she would also be intrigued by sword fighting because it's usually done outside the castle walls, and again, she finds that liberating. Seeing the tangle of plots her sisters are involved in has probably made her realize that to survive the unknown, she needs to know as many skills as possible. She also likes emotional decision makers, which I think is because she considers them to be the most genuine in a coven of ladies that can be very two-faced. There's so much planning and transactional relationships being made, it feels more precious when people choose to follow their hearts. In terms of appearance, I love the way she panned out. We talked about this when she was younger, but she has very handsome features, which I like. I think now that all the princesses are teens, I can safely say that Zara is the prettiest, but Nimue is my favorite. I'm curious to see how she's going to adjust in the main court because we already have some very strong personalities there. But that's all we have for Princess Nimue. We are picking up at 7 p.m. on Saturday. It is currently storming, which is why Nimue is running for her life. But she has moved into the main court, which is very, very exciting, and we are going to take a look at her relationships to see what's going on for her. So I've already pulled up the club with all the court children so we can kind of compare. Now, fascinatingly enough, Nimue is best friends with Vampyre, which I really like because I was kind of getting the sense that Vampyre, because of her mother's schemes, has kind of been left out of a lot of social circles, but it's nice to know that Nimue at least is best friends with her. And then out of all of her siblings, Nimue is the closest to Princess Nydia. She's got a good friendship, she's got a friendship with Zuleika and Yorick, so I kind of feel like she sympathizes with their plight, wanting to be together, but being betrothed to two different people. I think Nimue does sympathize with that. And then, she has a good impression of Zaro and Zara, the royal twins, but again, I feel like she stays away from them the same way Yorick stays away from them. They feel like very kind of political as the eldest. They are the most political members of the next generation, so I think anyone who prefers to stay away from the tangle of politics basically keeps clear of them. And for Nimue being best friends with Vampyre, I feel like this is because out of all of the children we have, Vampyre, since she didn't get any marriage prospects, she is the least politically charged child that we have. And Nimue, we already know, doesn't like participating in the politics of court, so for that reason I can see why Vampyre would be a very appealing friend for her to have. They can both stay out of it together, despite the schemes of Shannon, right, Vampyre's mother. Whereas everyone else, they are in some way connected to politics. And Nydia, she's not part of any betrothal, but she is best friends with Zuleika, and she keeps close contact with Zara, and she keeps kind of adding oil to the flames, so she's kind of in the middle of all of it. But Nimue, she doesn't want that for herself. She doesn't want that in her close circle, so this makes a whole lot of sense. But it's nice to see she doesn't have any red when we look at her relationship with the others. In terms of her family members, I mean, she has a good impression with her mother. They have amazing compatibility, but again, I feel like this is because Nimue doesn't want to become too tangled in politics and drama, and so she doesn't make as much effort with her mother as her sisters do. And then she has a friendship with her father, which is nice to see. So that's what we have for her. Now we're going to go through some of the whims to see what's going on with everyone. Also, I did, after I recorded the intro, guys, after I recorded the intro, I got a notification that apparently, and this is going to surprise us maybe a little bit, Zara, we got an attractiveness alert with Zara. She can't stop herself from staring at Yorick. That's right, guys. That's right. After the betrothal and after feeling as though she has reached new heights by stealing what Zuleika wants, Zara has been paying a little bit more attention to Yorick, and she's kind of realized that, hold on a second, now that he's older, he is actually a fine-looking sim, a fine-looking vampire. So she actually finds him. Where is he? She finds him. Where is he? Oh, darn it. Really? Oh wait, I'm on the wrong sim. Sorry, I'm on the wrong sim. Zara. She finds him extremely attractive, which is great for her. I mean, she's gonna end up getting married to Yorick, so I think it is extremely important that she is satisfied with whoever she's with. And it seems as though that the longer this goes on, she might find herself becoming less and less resistant to the idea of being bound to Yorick. And I know some of you lovelies were asking for a re-explanation of how the breeding's going to work with the married couples, which is fine, because it can get a little bit confusing. Basically, breeding will work the same way it has worked up until this point. The breeding order will be the same. The detail where we have a new male for every pregnancy will be the same, but for married couples, whenever it's their turn, like whenever it's the lady's turn to have their breeding, they're always going to breed with their husband. So all of Zara's children are going to be with Yorick, and all of Zuleika's children are going to be with Zoro. And that is so that Zoro and Yorick can pass on their family influence to their offspring. But for every other lady who's unmarried, they have to be with a new male for every pregnancy, essentially. So that's kind of a privilege of being married. You kind of guarantee the union of two families. And oh look, the buggies. I was looking for the bugs before I jumped in because I wanted to get this infestation dealt with before we started playing, but I could not for the life of me find any bugs. It is so nice of the bugs to find us instead. Okay, don't mind her while she deals with this. Don't mind her. Okay, there we go. So the bugs are dealt with. That's all done and dusted. Let's jump over and see what some of the ladies are feeling. So Nimue wants to take a nap. I love that. She doesn't want to get into any of this drama. She just wants to take a nap. So I'm actually going to send her up to her mother's quarters so she can nap lazily. There's also a couch there if you wanted to nap there, but no, she's going to go up. Yeah, she is definitely aware of everything that's been happening, but I think she prefers, like, unless she's called to be in the presence of the queen, or unless she's called by one of her older siblings because they want to have a conversation with her or they need her for something, I think Nimue tries not to get too involved. It's too messy, and it leaves like a bad feeling, you know? It's not a good feeling to see your family kind of fighting with each other over intangible things like this. So Nimue definitely prefers to stay away from all of that. And I feel like everyone else that we have so far in the younger generation, they're either themselves involved in problems or grand things, or they are trying to manipulate grand things in the background, like with Nydia. So I'm wondering how Nimue is going to fare, because those personalities are very, very strong. But hopefully she's gonna kind of be okay. Next up, we have Princess Nydia, who we were just talking about. Nydia wants to self-actualize. So let's go ahead and I think embrace the cringe. Yeah. So I think Nydia, after a moment of self-reflection, like she sometimes realizes when she looks especially at Nimue, her younger sister, I feel like that's the one time when she looks at Nimue that she realizes she might be going down a dishonest path. But I feel like Nydia embraces that. She has like small moments of reflection, and then she feels like, you know what, this is the life she was born into and she's not going to regret a second of it. Also, I did put this painting that Lady Lilith did of Zara and Zoro up here, which is very, very nice. So now we have that little bit of memory. And hopefully when our Sims have whims like that, we can do some more of this. But this was kind of the idea I had with Anaya in the very beginning. I wanted to capture scenes from different interactions around the castle and kind of pop them up here as time went on, so that we could look back and be like, oh look, memories. So we have that, which is nice. Zuleika wants to discuss fine cuisine, so who does she have the closest relationship with? Let's check. She has a 31 with Shannon, a 3 with Lilith, a 46 with Caleb, a -12 with Darling, a 100 with Akira. Oh. I mean, I'm not surprised. Why am I surprised? That's her mother. A 99 with Nydia. Ooh. A -100 with Zara. So they're literally out for blood at this point. And a 53 with Nimue. So she is going to go to her mother, Akira, and she is going to discuss some fine cuisine with her. Akira, were you struck by lightning by chance? She might have been. Let's see. I think it might be in interest. So let's go down here, discuss fine cuisine with your mother. I feel like Zara makes a lot of attempt at small talk with her mother because she knows that Akira is quite troubled by everything that's been going on, and she doesn't want to stress her mother out. We mentioned this a while ago, but she wants to be the solution to all of her mother's problems, and where she's positioned in the court right now is causing more problems than anything. And she would do her best to have some semblance of normalcy with Akira so that Akira doesn't feel too overwhelmed. So that's kind of nice. Okay, there we go. Managed to get that done. Now Zara, lovely Zara, what is going through your mind, honey? Zara wants to be mean to someone. I don't think we have to look too hard to see who she might be mean to. But we'll just take a look at the numbers so that we have an idea about everything else. She has a 26 with Nimue. She has a -100 with Zuleika. She has an 80 with Akira, a 19 with Caleb, a 15 with her mother, 29 with Nydia, 12 with Shannon, and a 12 with Lilith. So definitely Zuleika. She is going to be mean to Zuleika. So let's go ahead. She's gonna mock her acne. Never mind that Zara also has acne, but she is definitely gonna mock Zuleika's appearance. And Zuleika does have a bit of a shaggier kind of style to her compared to someone like Zara, who's a bit more put together. She's not as decked in jewelry, so I can see how she would kind of make fun of Zuleika for being so plain looking, and that's another reason why she probably makes such a good match with Yorick, like why Zara makes a good match with Yorick. She would flaunt it in Zuleika's face, for sure. Also, honey, you need to take a shower. Like, you really, really need to take a shower. Actually, why don't you go up into your mother's quarters and take a bath. Take a royal bath. Feel good about it. Okay, and then we have Lady Caleb. Caleb wants to share ideas, so let's see who she has the closest relationship with. And funnily enough, guys, her relationship with Darling has taken such a big hit. Such a big hit. And the only thing I can think of is that because Darling is so focused on trying to patch things up with Akira, she isn't giving Caleb as much attention anymore. But I think Caleb can see the way Queen Darling is handling that whole thing, and the way she's kind of arranged the betrothals and everything, the people in the process who have gotten hurt by it. I think Caleb is disappointed in Queen Darling because this is not the queen she thought she was serving, and this is not the queen she thought she was recognized by, because Caleb was recognized for her good work, keeping like the children together, or she's never been a caretaker, but having a genuine sort of effort towards the young children to keep them happy and keep them fed, right? So she thought her good work was recognized by a good queen. But now Queen Darling, now that she's in the council, Caleb can see Queen Darling making all these questionable decisions, and she doesn't agree with what Darling's doing. She doesn't agree with the way she's going about it. Especially because, you know, she's friends with Zuleika, and she cares about Zuleika and the youngsters. So I feel like Caleb is herself seeking out Darling less and less, and that's why their relationship is kind of decaying, which is unfortunate, but we were taking a look. So she has a 29 with Akira, a 46 with Zuleika, a 34 with Queen Darling, a 25 with Nimue, a 19 with Zara, a 22 with Nydia, a 99 with Shannon, and a 66 with Lilith. I feel like this is kind of what Shannon was waiting for. She was playing the waiting game. Share ideas. She was playing the waiting game because she did not like the fact that Caleb and Darling were getting really close, but she did not confront Caleb about it. Despite the jealousy that she might have had, despite the frustrations she might have had, she kept all of that inside. It was probably the one time that Shannon did the smart thing and did not kind of, blast off at Caleb and didn't throw a tantrum like a child, as she usually does. And it has paid off because Caleb's relationship with the Queen has naturally decayed, and now Caleb is once more the closest to Shannon. She's kind of gotten Caleb back in a sense. So it's kind of interesting. Also, I think in the last episode, towards the end, we saw that Shannon was in the crypt, and it's funny that Lily's ghost is here because Shannon was paying particular attention to Lily's urn. And the reason she was doing that is because some of the ladies, or I feel like a lot of the ladies, would be aware of the scheming that Shannon kind of did, or not Shannon, Lily did. Maybe Lily left traces. I mean, she even, committed murder, but which no one found out about. But I'm sure she left traces that Shannon was able to pick up on. Or maybe even Shannon recognized herself in Lily. She recognized the efforts Lily did towards, or the efforts she put in trying to get a better position in court, trying to get more influence in court, which didn't pan out, and she had a bad ending. And maybe Shannon was looking at the similarities between her situation and Lily's situation and trying to figure out how she could not end up that way. She didn't want to be another Lily, another Sim, who from the, well, they were both caretakers, weren't they? They were both caretakers. I don't know why I'm mistaking that. I confused that. But they both started off in the female faculty, Shannon and Lily, and they both moved into the main court. But Lily, she kind of failed to establish herself, whereas Shannon, she doesn't want to be a failure. She already considers herself better than Lily because, or more successful because she had a baby girl, which Lily never got the chance to. But that aside, Lily didn't want to have a baby girl. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe she had some other long-term plans in regards to that, because with the fluid court, if she didn't have a child under Queen Darling, she would have served under Queen Zara. And maybe instead of moving on or continuing her bloodline, Lily kind of wanted to be an immortal member of court who stays around across multiple queens. Maybe that was her goal. She had a grand goal that nobody could really understand. But she died, and that was cut short. Now, Shannon does not want to be like that. She wants to make a mark. She wants to make a mark. She wants to have a legacy. She wants to achieve everything that she's ever dreamt of. It was late afternoon when the ladies led Princess Nimue to her first hunt. For the first time, Nimue felt excited to be among her family members. They weren't scheming or fighting over control. They were simply hunting, putting aside their differences to satiate a primal thirst. And with that said and done, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.